I'm not a fan of Michigan football. I'm a Notre Dame fan. So, yeah, go ahead and fuck off. I am not a – this is such a clear-cut case to me, this Michigan sign stealing thing.
Yeah.
And I feel very, very passionately that two things need to happen here. We need to stop talking about vacating wins. The NCAA, as I've told you on this show 1,000 times, is never going to vacate a national championship ever again. We have, and I know we've roundly debated this, and I've been told I'm stupid, and I get it. You're smarter than me. They're not going to vacate championships. I would be shocked if the NCAA vacated Michigan's championship. It's just not possible. It's not, in my opinion, it's not going to happen. Are they going to cripple Michigan football? I think they are. Are they going to drop show cause notices on a bunch of bros? They are. Are they going to take scholaries? Are they going to ground your private jets? They are. Are they going to ban you from the college football playoff for multiple seasons? They are. They're gonna cripple Michigan. There's no doubt about that. They're not going to take away that championship.
And I think that's what a lot of people want, obviously. I think a lot of people feel like it's, just to take the national championship away. And I think the hard part is that even with the sign stealing situation, Michigan didn't have the advanced scout on teams in the college football playoff that they would have played in that timeline, if you think about it, because they didn't know who they were going to play at that point. So, I mean, it's tough for the NCAA to sit there and say, yeah, we're going to, take away your national championship because of something that you did that had huge implications in the regular season, obviously. And I think that people, I mean, as much as I am not a Michigan fan, as much as I do think it would be justice to, theoretically take away a national championship, you're not going to do that. You're going to hurt them moving forward. And I think this is the conversation we had all those months ago when the sign stealing thing happened and Michigan won a national championship. And everybody and their mom wanted to come out and say, I told you so, and we're the best, and, us against the world. And then what happened? Exactly what we said would happen. Jim left, all your boys left for the NFL, and now the school is left to clean up the mess. And I think that's the hard part for me is I'm not a Michigan fan, but I look at Michigan fan right now, and I say, you have no idea what's coming down the pipe for you, because ultimately the NCAA has to send a message on this. You have to have certainly reform, but also discipline, and you got to pay a price. And I think that, Michigan doesn't want to do that. Michigan feels like they're going to get this penalty, they're going to appeal it, and then the appeal's not going to be handled till, 2 years down the line. Like, it's this whole long drawn out process, when in reality, they just need to pay their penalty, and we need to move on from this. And to sit here and create more drama around it, I feel like is what the OG classic college football fan wants to do.
So we got news yesterday from MLive and several Michigan blog sites that the NCAA is going to drop a notice of allegations around sign stealer guy up at Michigan.
Sign stealer guy.
That is coming soon, and a lot of people expect it to be within a week. And it is the kickoff to the disciplinary process. Now, let's get a couple of things straight here. This will not be, adjudicated. This will not come to an end probably for at least another year. Michigan, by all accounts, is going to sue no matter what the penalty is, because, of course, we don't want rules applied to us. We only like the rules when they're applied to Ohio State. I think we are far from an end here. But what a notice of allegations means is that the NCAA has very clearly wrapped up its investigation into the sign stealing scandal. It means that the NCAA is going to now move forward into the penalty phase, the investigation that is required into the penalty phase. And I think what you're going to see is that by the close of 2024, we will have a lot more clarity here. The problem, of course, is that the NCAA takes forever to hand out punishment. And I think one of the things when we talk about, hey, are we going to remove national championships, or you're not vacating anything, because number one, Jim Harbaugh is never coaching in college football again. That much will be very clear when this is over, because I do believe he is going to get a 10-year show cause notice, which would effectively end his college coaching career. But the real question is, what about guys like Sharon Moore, the head coach of Michigan now, who very clearly was one of the top supervisors, if you will, of the coaching staff as the number 2 to Jim Harbaugh. Sharon Moore had to have knowledge and vision. And again, this goes back to that discussion we've had so many times on this show about the fact that whether you knew or not, you're guilty. Oh, you knew? Okay, you're guilty. Oh, you didn't know? That means you're derelict in your duty and you're guilty. That's the way the NCAA looks at these situations. So I think if I'm Sharon Moore, I think there are going to be some financial penalties paid. I think that it is very difficult to compete as one of the top programs in the country if you do not qualify for postseason play. And if you are even given a 2-year, which would be the minimum suspected penalty, if you are given a 2-year postseason ban for Michigan football, it's absolutely debilitating. And if you do some math here and you think forward, well, what would a timeline be for a potential punishment? If that is 18 months from now, you're talking about the middle of October 2025. The college football landscape is going to be completely different at that point. So if you drop a 2-year postseason ban on Michigan, let's say by the end of this calendar year, Michigan sues, you wind up going through a court process that is probably from right now at least 18 months. Now you're talking about like potential Super League implications. I don't know that it behooves Michigan to fight these penalties. If I were Michigan, and I guess this is where the rubber meets the road, if I were Michigan, I would fall on the sword and say, yeah, Jim Harbaugh was a shitbag who lied to you. And that's why, well, you can't really say that's why we fired him and you begged him to stay and offered him the biggest contract in the history of college football coaches. Other than that, I mean, my point is it's going to be awfully difficult for you to say, hey, you know what? We had no idea what was going on. That's why Jim Harbaugh is not the coach here anymore.
Yeah, I mean obviously that's going to be a really tough look for them.
It is.
I think that Michigan. Look, I almost feel like it's one of those situations where I kind of just want Michigan to be like, yeah, we did this, and you know what? Like, it was illegal, but we did it, and we won a national championship. And it is what it is. Now, obviously, they're not going to come out and say that. They're going to do what they did last time around, which is, the punishment and the verdict and all this will come down, and then they'll appeal it, and they'll hem and haw just the same way they did before, and then they'll get to their court date, and they'll do whatever they're going to do. But the reality of the situation is you're not going to get away from this one. There's too much here. It's too widespread. This isn't like an isolated incident. This is like a season of, hey, we're going to break rules as a matter of culture in this program. We're going to...
As a matter of doing business, we are going to break rules.
Yeah, like it's just what we do, and we're fine with it because I'm Jim Harbaugh, and I know either way I'm going to leave for the NFL after this season. And I think that is the hard part, and I hope that other institutions learn from this. Like, if you're someone, like if Ohio State, good example, for all the people who say, oh, fire Ryan Day. Cool. If you're going to fire Ryan Day, who are you going to go and get that's going to run the program as up, top notch as he does? That's the problem in college football. There's not like a bunch of great coaches falling off trees. So I look at Michigan and I say, dude, like, you sold yourself to the devil. You knew who this guy was. You knew what he was, capable of doing. Yeah. And you knew that he wasn't going to be there for 20 years. He wasn't going to be some legacy coach at Michigan. And Michigan fans going to tell you, oh, well, he won a national championship and he's everybody's All-American. Well, we'll see how that opinion changes once the discipline comes down, because you're going to pay that price.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Michigan fan reacts. My guess is your garden variety Michigan fan is going to say, oh, it was all worth it. And I don't know that it was all worth it. I think if you are if you are Michigan and you are, you're trying to paint yourself as this prestigious institution. Can you say that anymore when you're president and you're athletic director? And I mean, you look at, forget football. Look at all the bullshit you went through with Juwan Howard.
Yeah.
Look at the Michigan basketball program. You look at the culture of sports in Ann Arbor. There is something very wrong. There is, in my opinion, there is a need for systematic change. And I don't know that any NCAA penalty is going to bring that. But we can sit here and we can talk about, oh, Michigan won the national championship and Free Harbaugh was a Heisman Trophy winner. And
just
my
stalwartness.
God, we can live in a fantasy land. We do that often in this country, as we're going to talk about in about 90 minutes. We live in a fantasy land in this country. We routinely, as a matter of practice now, like rules as long as they're not applied to us. But at some point, you have to understand this national championship is tarnished forever. You can look at your cute little rings and absolutely, you're a national champion and that won't change. But if you believe that people are going to pat you on the back and say, hey, congratulations on that national championship, man.
You guys are the best.
Wow, you're wrong. And if you believe that your integrity is intact, you're wrong. And I wonder, how much does that matter to the University of Michigan? Because fan bases and fandom are detached. I don't think they give a rat's ass about what Ohio State fan thinks of them. I don't think it matters in the least that Michigan fan and Michigan itself does not realize they're a laughingstock of college sports. I mean, you quite literally are a university with no integrity, with no ethics, who cheated to win because you couldn't beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
Is that the reality of it? Yeah, I think it probably is. I think Jim Harbaugh, in my opinion, started the sign stealing operation, and I believe he was fully aware. I think Jim Harbaugh is too much of a control freak. He is too good of a head coach. He is too competitive to have a guy like Connor Stallions walk in and do some sign stealing bullshit on his own.
Well, and I think that the hard part is when you look at the Central Michigan situation, like you have a dynamic where this cat's wearing their apparel, dude. Like it's not like he was standing on the sideline in Michigan apparel. And that, to me, when that first came out and we first talked about that, like, it was always pretty clear that conversations were had, and I am sure a handshake deal of some variety was made to have Connor Stallions on the sideline when they played Michigan State. And to me, it's like, you're sitting here listening to dudes like Jim McElwain, the head coach at Central Michigan, talk about how he had no idea, and man, we're doing everything we can do to fix the problem. And it's like, dude, let's just be real. Jim probably called you and said, hey, bud, we need to go ahead and do this. And yeah, it's illegal, but you're not going to get in trouble. It'll come back on me. I'll handle it. You have them come after me. I'll handle it. And here's what you're getting in return.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would have been, but that's the type of stuff we're talking about here. I mean, we're talking about Jim going around and making deals with folks to get dude on the sideline or into the stadium. And that's the hard part, is that you are just cheating everybody. I don't even care that he was like, yeah, wow, we need to do this so that we can make sure we beat Ohio State, or so we can make sure that, we go undefeated or have the best chance. I don't care about that. If your ethics are that low, fine. The problem I have is you're cheating everybody else on the football field who's doing it authentically and genuinely. That's the issue here.
Yeah, it was a not so well kept secret that Michigan was doing that, and teams knew. Here nor there. I guess what it comes down to for me is that I think my guess is they're going to get a minimum of a 2-year postseason ban. That in itself is absolutely destructive to your recruiting process. I think you're going to take a 25% write down on scholarships. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be pretty much exiled from college coaching. I think he will get a 10-year show cause order. And I think that I think Michigan's going to suffer here for probably 5 years minimum. At a minimum.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the kids who are there and who will suffer for this? I don't. We all make decisions in life. I think the coaching staff that's there now, you were part of it. I think the administration, you were part of it. Ward Manuel, you were part of it. And I don't know what the right thing to do is, but I do know that you're going to take a pretty significant beating here. And Michigan fan will be in the comment section saying, "Yep, it's all worth it." Is it worth it?
That's the hard part, because you can make a real strong case that you're not even getting to the national championship game itself. Hell, you're not even getting to the Alabama game without, the advantage you had in the regular season. Now, again, I'm still going to tell you they beat those teams straight up. Those were absolutely victories.
Well, the truth is Michigan was the best football team in the country. They were the most talented team in the trenches. Like, that's the real tragedy. And we've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
They were actually really good. They were very good. Very, very good. You didn't need to steal signs. I would assume once October hit and sign stealer guy was outed, I would assume most people changed their signs and they still beat your ass, Ohio State.
Yeah.
So, and if it was this open secret that they were stealing signs, if they stole your signs and leveraged you because of it, which very clearly in a lot of situations they did, that was on you. Michigan was a very good football team, and nobody will ever talk about that. They will talk about the fact that they only won games because they knew what the other team was doing. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They knew what was coming from the other sideline. It's as simple as that. All right, let's get into the comment section. As always, presented by Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. A great new promotion rolled out by Prize Picks. Now, we've told you for years that Prize Picks gives you 100% deposit matching when you use the promo code Monty. The game at Prize Picks has changed, and you're better for it. Prize Picks now is, as of this moment, giving their best influencers, hello, the opportunity to give you $50 right into your account the minute you open a new account and make a $5 deposit. When you do that, use the promo code Monty. Use the link in the description below. When you use the promo code Monty, you make a $5 deposit. They will give you $50 into your Prize Picks account. Done. That's it. That's the whole promotion. It is simple. It is easy. I think it is the best daily fantasy promotion we have ever seen. Ever. And I tell you every day, Prize Picks is spectacular. It's why it's the number one daily fantasy app in the world. It's why you see so many people who get to Prize Picks and they're like, oh man, this is way better than that other app I was using, because it very simply is, hey, baseball. I love, in my opinion, one of my favorite stats is total bases. I love it. How many times did, 3? Aaron Judge, if he hits a home run, gets 4 total bases. So you're going to be asked 2.5. On a guy like Aaron Judge, usually it's 2.5 total bases. More or less. That's it. That's all. Did he hit the ball and run to second? That's only 2. So he's got to get a base hit to get to 3, more or less. It's so simple. In golf, how many birdies is Justin Spieth going to have? How many fairways is Tony Finau going to hit? 10, more or less. It's that simple. And now you deposit $5 in a new account at Prize Picks, they're going to give you $50. Download the app, use the promo code Monty. Just get the link in the description below. Play Prize Picks because it's so much fun. DM me, and I might see it. DM me your Prize Picks lineups. Let's play together. I would love to see it. Or tweet at me and tag me. Or, wow, Coco Gauff is out of the Olympics. Wow. Loses in straight sets.
Jeez.
Tag me on Twitter. I'm more likely to see it if you tag me, but not a hundo P.
Yeah.
So tag me. Let's play Prize Picks together, America's favorite daily fantasy app. Now giving you $50 when you open a new account and make a $5 deposit. PrizePicks.com. Download the app. Use a promo code Monty. All right, talking Michigan football. Who is in? Matt Ritson, first one in today, gives us $5. Michigan just upgraded new locker room with a bowling alley, pool table, and a barber shop after they won the national championship. I saw that. Michigan football tweeted out a bunch of pictures. Their locker room's beautiful. I mean, their new renovation's great. Did they do that because they won a national championship? My guess is it was in the works far before that.
Yeah.
Because that takes a lot of donor money and planning. But yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, Mike Smith, you KNEW knew.
Okay.
Bad as it was, still nowhere as bad as Pedo State. Not at all.
Agreed.
And I think I told this story in the past. I was on Cairo Radio in Seattle when the Pedo State Sandusky stuff hit. And I still maintain today that Pedo State should not play football ever again. I think Joe Paterno's a disgrace. I think what Jerry Sandusky and Joe Paterno did to young men at Penn State, they should never have been allowed to play another football game. I don't respect Penn State. I don't think Penn State is an institution of ethics or higher learning. I think it's a place where pedophiles go to hide. And I know I've said that 1,000 times, and I will never come off of that. I do not believe that Penn State should ever have played another football game. Ever. It's not in question, in my opinion, what happened there.
Yeah.
There should be no Paterno statues. There should be no all-time wins guy. Joe Paterno should be wiped from every record book in college football at Penn State, in the Big Ten. Doesn't fucking matter. Joe Paterno is a disgrace to men. He's not a disgrace to football coaches. Joe Paterno is a disgrace to men. Period.
Yeah, he's got statues and he's still well in the memory books.
I think he probably will for a long time. Phil Venzer, 5 a.m. in the morning. Who wakes up at this hour? Well, I've been up for 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Yeah.
I was up at 3:59 this morning. Slept great last night. Phenomenal. Made one little tweak. I am taking my, you guys know I take a lot of vitamins.
Right.
I'm taking my nighttime vitamins at lunch now, and it's making a huge difference.
Oh, interesting.
It is. And nutritionally, I had a chicken salad for dinner last night. As I told you I would. Mrs. Monty made a bunch of chicken breast in the slow cooker this weekend. Had a great chicken salad last night. I'm telling you, we talked about favorite fast food.
Yeah.
Stop. First of all, with all due respect to the 10 people, I don't know what was in the water yesterday. I'm not going out to eat fast food with you. I'm not.
With all due respect.
I'm not. I must have gotten, I think it's probably 6 or 7, not 10. I got 6 or 7 invitations.
Well, Marty, come to Culver's. We'll have you.
And my guy, Kyle, Kyle's a longtime listener of the show. I'm not going to call him out by name. My guy, Kyle, is begging me to give Chick-fil-A another chance. And he's like, I will pay. I will come down. He lives up in Bountiful. It's like, I will come down to South Jordan. I will buy you Chick-fil-A. What's your schedule look like Thursday at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Monty?
Like our great Floridian, Maury Alvarez. Maury Alvarez is like, I'm going to take you out to lunch at Culver's this week. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Via 313 Pizza or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
This cat's like, it's not fast food, but it's really good. Let's have dinner.
Garbage.
No, the answer is not no. It's fuck no. I'm not. You got it. And this is the thing that is amazing to me. That food is so bad for you. I enjoy talking about fast food.
Right.
I have said this 100 times. My favorite fast food is breakfast. Done. That's the fast food I eat. This past Saturday or this past Sunday, when certain people who don't communicate at all have you sitting in front of your house for 15 minutes waiting for them while they're driving miles away from you, so you don't get breakfast. So you have to stop at McDonald's and get
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
and get an egg and cheese McMuffin. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. But that's the extent of it. And what did I have for lunch yesterday? I had chicken breast and roasted potatoes. And it was so much better than any fast food you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
And I appreciate one of our biggest name longtime listeners being like, hey, let's meet at Super Chicks this week. I'm not going to Super Chicks right now. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one other fast food thing. This gal, who I've never heard of before and probably will never hear of again, especially now that I'm going to talk about her. This gal, Amy, who lives in Texas, wants to send me Whataburger in the mail. I don't want fast food in the mail.
Bro, the burger's not going to be hot anymore by the time we get it, all right?
But I will say, we need to at some point come down to Baytown, Texas, and go to Buc-ee's, because I said that. I don't know when I said that, but I said that we would come down to Baytown, Texas.
Yeah, it was like 2-3 weeks ago.
And go to Buc-ee's. I probably need to keep my promise on that. And because we have Texas is a massive market for us, from SMU, Dallas to Tarrant County, Jarrah, down to Houston. We love all of our San Antonians. Like, you guys are great. We probably should pick a spot in the middle and meet you at a Buc-ee's. Whether it's Baytown's nowhere near the middle of Texas, but we should probably meet in the middle somewhere.
Right.
And at Oak State, James will be, oh, Monty, let me get Preston Stone's cock, and we'll ride it all the way to Buc-ee's, and we'll meet you there.
His cock.
Oak State James is probably the ringleader of that. I would have, now that, Boss Frog is no longer on the show.
Yeah, he's deserted.
Tanner pissed him off something serious.
Yeah.
All of our great Texans, I'm happy to do it when it's cool.
James, when's the last time you were at Buc-ee's, bro? Like literally yesterday, or?
Yeah, exactly. Mike Smith says only the perverts get up this early. Calford says morning, Monty. James says happy Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was watching a podcast yesterday. My guy Huberman Labs talking about how bad tacos actually are for you. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Don't tell me tacos are bad. I love.
What do you mean
tacos
are bad for you? It's taco meat, turkey,
I
lettuce,
love tacos.
Tomatoes, little cheese, tortilla. Like, come on.
I am a huge fan of tacos. Tacos, yes. Jay Chapman, they're going to force the Wolverines to use generic toilet paper in their brand new locker room.
Yeah.
Oak State James, the Michigan fan is like The Rock, smiling and happy, then the Undertaker bell goes off. Exactly. LFG's like number 18. Appreciate that. Welcome to the nightmare. Similar as far as overall fault, with Pedo State and the staff knowing what was going on, Michigan staffers knew and followed suit with what Coach Kakis was doing.
I would agree.
But you look at the Michigan State Nassar situation. You look at Jim Jordan at Ohio State, and the allegations against Jim Jordan. Like, this is the thing that's amazing to me, is these are not one-off situations. When there is cheating and scandal, and obviously stealing signs is different than being Sandusky'd, to be polite and not use heinous terminology.
100% it's different.
It's different. What happened with Nassar at Michigan State is different. What happened at the car wash at Northwestern is different. But our reaction to it is not. We want to minimize it all. If you're a Penn State football fan, there's no minimizing what Joe Paterno did. There's not.
Worst of the worst.
The fact that you still support that pedophile factory is disgusting to me.
Yeah, well, and I feel like there's never going to be a time where the NCAA has, frankly, the balls to say, hey, like, this is so bad that we're going to go ahead and we need to shut it down. Right? We're you're not playing football anymore. Like, you're not, like, and it's a shame because I do feel like when that came out, like, there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, this is probably a situation where, like, this whole athletic department and, like, this program and everything
Mhm.
needs to be shut down. I mean, you can't. And again, maybe this is a conversation for a different day, but I feel like it's seemingly once or twice a year in collegiate athletics where we get, like, major scandal at this or that university,
Right.
and that's got to be put to bed, man. And the only way you're going to do that is by levying heavy punishment against those involved. And at some point, there needs to be some type of punishment that would include that sport going away from your school, because that's the only way we deter human beings from doing things. Hey, if you're going to do X, Y is going to happen, and sometimes Y can be we gotta go ahead and take away your chances and opportunities.
Swoosh 2K says Lataco. We had gone several shows. You prick. We had gone several shows, Swoosh, without the La Cap, La Hairline,
La
La
Burrito.
Grandpa, La Taco Tuesday. We had gone several shows
Now, La Captain America.
without that bullshit. And now La Taco is back.